Hey everyone, it's Ashley here, and I wanted to talk to you today about the tough transition and the tough things that we have come across in going from one children to now two children. And I know obviously there's a lot of people out there who have way more children than two, and with each child it brings new challenges and new difficulties, but I just thought it would be fun to talk about and document just kind of the challenges that we faced along the way. Because I know when we were pregnant with Annika, our second child, I definitely, hi sweetie, she's over there making noises, sorry, but I definitely looked up and researched and tried to find out, what things to expect when having another child, what things to be aware of, what things to try and do to help that transition. And so I just wanted to talk with you a little bit about that today. So let's get started. I think first and foremost, right after you have a baby, the hardest thing is the physical recovery that your body is going through after giving birth, whether it be through C-section or natural. Just the change that drastically happens to your body, that trauma, it's trauma that your body goes through. It's a lot of hard work, and also just growing a baby inside of you for 9 months, how everything inside of you changes and adjusts to fit this baby, and as your body goes back to its new normal, it takes a while, and I'm not even saying like getting down to the pre-pregnancy weight or anything like that. I'm just saying how you feel physically right after having birth, the pains that are associated with it. They have like the afterbirth pains, I think that's what they're called, where for a good couple of days after having birth, you continue to have that cramping feeling. Your stomach area is always tender. You just feel weaker. You just don't feel 100%. So that was very hard right from the get-go, because I was so used to running around with my toddler, being able to pick her up, play with her, being very active with her, even just simple things like picking her up to get her into her high chair or her seat at the table, picking her up to get her into the car. If she gets hurt or is feeling sad or having a hard time going down for her nap, just picking her up and being able to give her hugs and hold her, and not being able to do all of that was difficult for me. Not being able to be there for her in that way was hard for me. And she understood to an extent, but she's 2, so she's not going to fully understand why mom can't do these things. The next thing that was hard, just along lines of like the physicalness of having another child, was going back to only really having one hand to work with a lot of times. With Sophia and then now with Annika, I would nurse one-handed and then do stuff with my other hand if she needed to nurse, or hold her one-handed if she was getting tired or just extra fussy because she needed close mom time, and doing stuff with my other hand. This time around, I did baby wear a little bit with Sophia, but I wasn't super comfortable with it until she got a little bit bigger. But this time around, I did baby wear a lot straight from the get-go. And so that helped a lot with freeing up two hands to sit on the floor and play with Sophia, 2 hands to prepare a little lunch or a little snack for Sophia or get things out. Emotionally, there were some tough transitions too. It was hard for me to see my older daughter struggling through this transition. So probably starting at the beginning of our second week with the newborn. So the first week, I think my husband was here. It was kind of like the honeymoon stage, something new, something exciting. The second week, my husband had to leave. My mom was here to help, but my daughter isn't used to her being around because they do live far away. And so she was here to help, but my daughter wouldn't really let her do a lot of the things. She always wanted me to do them. And so probably from the beginning of the second week until the middle of the third week, so for about a week and a half, it was just really tough emotionally for my daughter. She didn't understand why I couldn't do the things that I could do, or why I needed help, like why I would ask grandma to help with some things, and she was very insistent on, mom can do this, mom can do this, mom can do this, and so it was just hard to see her struggle through that. Someone's going to join us for a little bit here. So, I don't quite remember what I was saying, but I know I was talking about Sophia and her struggles in the beginning. So yeah, I guess at the same time, we could tell that there was a lot of emotion going on for her. She would kind of have these outbursts or these just frustrating moments where she just got really frustrated and worked up about what seemed like small things and things that never really bothered her before. Having to leave the park when it was time to go, going down for a nap, things like this. They never really frustrated her before, but I think she was having just so much emotion built up because of the change in the transition, and she didn't know how to express that, and so when she got a little bit frustrated, she would just kind of explode, and not super explode, and not get super crazy or super bad, but she would just start crying and get really emotional. And so that was a struggle as a mom to see that and to work with her through that. Thankfully, my mom was here, so my mom got to help with kind of all the behind-the-scenes stuff, like the cleaning and the dishes and the meals and all of that. And so I was able just to focus all of my energy and all of my attention on my oldest daughter, Sophia, and then the newborn, Annika, and just taking care of Annika, transitioning her into our family, and helping Sophia adjust to being an older sister and not being the only one. Another thing that was really hard for me, but it was good at the same time for Sophia, was seeing her have to develop a closer relationship and a more dependent relationship on other people rather than just her mom. So if you think about it, for the past 2 years, much of everything that she's needed or had throughout the past 2 years has been from me. When she was little, I nursed her and comforted her and put her down to bed and all of that stuff. And then as she got older, I still continued to do that for the most part because my husband's working and gone at work. So, I would be there for the nap times and for when she woke up from nap, and be there to get her snacks and her meals ready, and be there right away in the morning for her and all of this stuff. And then all of a sudden, there was this transition where my husband, especially when he wasn't working right when we had Annika, he was there a lot more and had to do a lot more with her. Even now in the mornings when Sophia wakes up, my husband goes and gets her and plays with her for an hour and lets me either just continue to rest or sleep, or sometimes if Annika's up, I have to nurse her right away in the morning, stuff like that. And she's really started to look forward to that time. So rather than asking for mom right when she wakes up like she always did, it's now a lot of times she asks for dad because she knows that dad's the one to come get her. So that's a good thing. That's a great thing. I want her to have that strong relationship with Stefan, but it's hard. It's hard to see that. I mean, me and her still have a good, strong relationship, but it's hard to see the change in dynamic of it because she has to be more dependent or more flexible with how much I'm able to do and how much I'm not able to do. And then, there's that mom guilt that's always there. I have these 2 beautiful, wonderful, amazing children, and I want to spend 100% of my time with each of them, and I can't. I want to play with Sophia all day long. And at the same time, I just want to cuddle and love on my newborn. But I can't. I can't do both of those things fully. So what I've learned to do is just take advantage of the times I do have. So Annika did just get up. If I wasn't filming this, and as soon as I'm done filming this, it'll be time for me and Annika to hang out because Sophia is still napping. And I will not worry about dishes until they're both in bed tonight. And I won't worry about lots of cleaning until they're both in bed tonight. So that during the day I'm focused on them and playing with them and hanging out with them. Now that being said, there are times when I say, okay, girls, I usually talk to both of them as if Annika understands, but that just I think helps with the whole relationship, or I just think that helps overall. But I'll say, okay, mommy needs to get dinner started now. This is how mommy takes care of the family. This is, mommy needs to do a few dishes, like if they're really building up or something, and just say that's how mommy takes care of the family. And Sophia does fine with it. She'll sit and play, she'll read books. Usually about every 5 minutes I try to come over and talk to her or interact with her, then I'll go back to what I was doing. And I don't do that for more than about 20 minutes at a time, just because yeah, I don't want to be consumed with cleaning or stuff like that. And then after meals, I always try to, you know, she'll sit up at the table a little bit longer and I'll just be talking to her, and while I'm talking to her, I'll be cleaning up. You know, it's taking advantage of that little time throughout the day, or the little moments throughout the day, to stay on top of the cleaning, and then just really utilizing the downtime for playing. And that's like non-distracted playing. So my phone is put away, I don't have my computer out, things like that. Like I try to have moments throughout the day, especially just in our world of technology, being a vlogger, being on YouTube, you know, having a phone, being on social media. You know, I try to have a lot of time throughout the day where those things, where I am unplugged, where those things aren't a factor, where those things aren't even seen or aren't really around, so that, you know, Sophia does get my undivided attention and we do get to sit down and play and not be interrupted by other things. Alright guys, well, Sophia just woke up from her nap, so I am going to just kind of quick wrap this up. The last thing that was difficult or was challenging was kind of a time of day. So when it got time to be nap time or bedtime, it was a struggle for about 2, maybe 3 weeks, and I think a lot of that was just because Sophia was just more tired, and at that time needed mom more. And here she is.
Anna, I want a toy.
You want to what?
It's right there, that toy. And
Oh, Annika's toy?
yeah, can I open it here?
Yeah. Do you want to go get it?
Are you done?
Okay, I'll get it in just a second, okay? So I think a lot of that was just because she was more tired at the time and then needed mom's attention a little bit more, and because I was divided between usually her and Annika, it was just tough at times. And I was tired, and you want your necklace? Oh, baby. So yeah, that was a tough time of day, but we got through it, and we just continued to work together through that because it was hard for all of us at that time. That was probably the hardest time of day with having 2 children and with adjusting to having 2 children. That all being said, and even through just all of the difficulty that has come up and just the challenges that we have seen and the adjustment, I would do it all over again in a heartbeat, and hopefully will someday with our 3rd child. But yeah, it's been totally worth it, and just to see Sophia grow and develop and mature, and the things that she has learned in the process of having a little sister, and how my husband and I have grown and developed and are still growing as we've faced new challenges with having 2 children. It's totally worth it, and honestly, it's been easier than I expected. I had 1 child, and I was busy with one child, so I just pictured just extreme chaos and insanity once I added a 2nd child to the mix, and honestly, it's been a lot smoother. And so yeah, it's just been a ton smoother and easier than I ever expected it to be. And I feel like some people, you know, and maybe it's dependent upon the child and the children you have and their personalities, but I totally feel like, you know, some people really painted just this negative picture of adding another child and what it's like and the hardship that comes with it. And it's not been that way. It's been very calm. It's been a fairly smooth transition. Yes, there's been hard moments and tough days, but it's really not been that bad. So it's been really enjoyable. Do you like having a little sis?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you like to do with her?
Play with her.
Play with her and
share toys.
share toys with her. What else? Do you give her hugs and kisses?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you do. So yeah, stay tuned. I'm going to have 2 more videos coming up all about this topic. One of them is going to be my husband's perspective, and I'm going to kind of catch him off guard because I just want to see what he says. I haven't really asked him this question yet. So I'm going to get his perspective as a dad in adding a 2nd child and what it's been like. And then another video, we're going to talk about very specifically what we did ahead of time to prepare for the transition. So what we did with Sophia, how we prepared her for the transition, and then also just some things that we have done throughout the first couple weeks to try and make the transition easier for all of us, and just even the mentality that we've had and some changes that we've made in our family and just what we do throughout the day and all of that type of stuff. So I'm just going to talk about, very specifically what we did to prepare and to make this transition as smooth as we possibly could. So thank you all for watching, and let me know, please let me know, what did you find to be the toughest thing when you went from 1 child to 2, or what was your greatest fear going into having 2 children? Mine, honestly, and I kind of alluded to this a little bit, my biggest concern in having another child was that I would either A, not love that child because I love my first child so much and I couldn't imagine loving another, or I would somehow love that child, the new child, and neglect my first child. And so, I couldn't picture being able to love 2 children and being able to love them equally and fully, and I do, and it's awesome how your love just expands and your heart truly does grow with each child, but I couldn't picture it ahead of time. I couldn't imagine what it would have been like and how that would have worked out, and all I pictured was me not liking one of the 2, and it's obviously not the case, but that was my biggest fear going into it. So let me know, for starters, if you have 2 children or more children, what your biggest challenge was in transitioning to having those children, or having a new child in the house, a new baby in the house. And let me know ahead of time, what was your biggest concern? If you either already have 2 children or more, or if you're pregnant, what is your biggest concern going into adding a new baby to the household? And then my last question, and this because we do plan on having more children, was there a certain number of children that you thought that it was easier? So I have heard that going from 2 to 3 was the hardest for some people, going from 1 to 2 was the hardest. Usually I hear that going from 3 to 4 and beyond is the easiest, because at that point you have older children to help. So was there a certain number of children that you thought was an easier transition or a harder transition? So that was a lot of things that I'm asking for. But if any of those questions stood out to you more so than the other, I would love to hear your answers in the comments as we continue to support each other and encourage each other as moms, because we are all out here doing the absolute best that we can as moms and trying our hardest, and you're silly. And so I would love to hear your answers, and keep watch for those other videos that I'm going to be posting in regards to the same topic and in regards to our transition, and I will talk to you all later. Bye! You say bye?
Bye.